why the Kung Fu Panda movie was better than mid, but not by much. Also, sorry I've been gone for so long, but I'm back, baby. And today, we're going to be reviewing the Kung Fu Panda 4 movie. Now, I actually just got back from watching it, and I'll be honest, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what we were all hoping for. I think, in reality, it was what we were all expecting, but I don't think it was what we were hoping for, right? Now, I have a bit of complaints and concerns about the movie, but again, overall, it's a good movie, and after my review, I'll be giving it a rating out of 10. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, my first critique, I guess you could say, is about Tai Lung. Now, what did I think of Tai Lung in the movie? I thought it was a redemption arc, but it could have been better. What do I mean? Well, let me get started on a couple things. Number one is no interaction with Shifu, right? Now, as we saw in the first movie, Tai Lung was very important to Shifu, and Shifu was very important to Tai Lung in terms of the whole lore, the whole backstory, the whole arc, right? And I get the movie's about Po, and, Shifu was just there to kind of tell Po to, it's okay, he was there to tell Po it's okay to change, and everything like that. However, there was no interaction between them, so that was just, again, and these are all points that I'm just saying for myself, these are just my opinions. So I would have wished to see a bit of interaction between Tai Lung and Shifu. The second thing that could have been done is, and this is something that I think everyone online would agree with, is that he should have been named the new Dragon Warrior. It would have been the perfect redemption arc, right? He shows he's learned, grown, moved on from that time during his villain arc, and now he's ready to become the new Dragon Warrior, as he trained his whole life to be. Instead, once he's thrown into a jail cell, as the Chameleon takes him out of the spirit realm, steals his power, and then he just sits there and, he's commentating, and he's actually the only one of the villains, or main villains that we know commentating, which I'll get to in a minute, but he was commentating on the fight, and he basically told Po that, that he wasn't worthy of being told by Oogway that he is the new successor and the new Dragon Warrior. However, at the end of the movie, when Po does defeat the Chameleon, he actually takes the Chameleon himself back to the spirit realm and bows to the Dragon Warrior, Po, and says thank you, and he says, see you on the other side. And so I that was a bit cute to me, and I enjoyed that personally. And so, it was a redemption arc. However, I think it could have been a better redemption arc. I think a lot of people would back me up on this, and that he should have been the Dragon Warrior. And so, but he did give Po credit where credit was due, so that's that, okay? Now we go to what I call missed opportunities, right? And this is Shen and Kai, right? Shen and Kai. Not Zhen, Shen, right? Lord Shen and Kai. The main villains of seasons 2 and 3. Shen in 2, Kai in 3. Now, what did they do this movie? Nothing. They did absolutely nothing. They didn't even talk. They had the facial expressions for them, right? So they had the you could see their faces, especially when the Chameleon was using their power, right? They were they did all the funny facial expressions, but other than that, they didn't say a single word the entire thing. However, they were right behind Tai Lung in terms of, importance of villains, and they're also right behind Tai Lung, in person, when Tai Lung, bowed to the Dragon Warrior after he did, everyone else followed, but I think Shen and Kai were first, and then everyone else followed after them. But yeah, it was just such a missed opportunity, because, yes, obviously Tai Lung was, the huge one to bring back because of the redemption arc, but even so, Shen found peace in his death, and Kai, Kai was also, a go-to villain, also, this movie has made a lot of people realize how good the ending of, Kung Fu Panda movie 3 was. And so, there was just such dialogue, there was so much dialogue they could have done, there just so much missed opportunity that they had with these two main villains, right, Shen and Kai, and so, I really wish they had some actual words and speaking in the movie, but, oh well. Then we have, Zhen, right, the fox, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing her name right, Zhen the fox. Overall, I didn't mind the character, overall, she was a fine character, the one thing that kind of irks me, and again, I'm sure a lot of people will back me up on this, is that she is now being trained to become the Dragon Warrior, right? The whole point of the Dragon Warrior is that it was a pure soul, right? And so that's why Po was chosen, right? It was just so pure, and obviously Oogway chose him to merge the two worlds of Panda and China and all that fun stuff, right? However, but the fact that Zhen was a known and wanted criminal, and even though she's changing, the Dragon Warrior was supposed to be someone who's in my opinion, it was supposed to be someone who's pure soul, right, and everything like that. And so, and that's why Oogway didn't choose Tai Lung. He could sense a darkness in his heart, right? Zhen, even though she's changing, right, and she has changed, at the same time, a wanted criminal becoming the Dragon Warrior, bit iffy. And again, I think I'm just biased on this because, again, my opinion, Tai Lung should become the Dragon Warrior. But overall, did not mind Zhen's character at all. The jokes that were told between Jen and Po were a bit corny, but that's to be expected. And overall, good character, right? Then we have the Chameleon. Now I've got beef with the Chameleon, all right? Good villain. Kind of feels like they just used the Chameleon and changed it from Kai to the Chameleon, right? The only difference I could spot between Kai and the Chameleon is that because they both had the same thing, and where Kai took Shi, and the Chameleon took the literal kung fu skills. But the main difference is that Kai was able to use the warriors like in Jade form, right? In Kung Fu Panda 3, you saw that Kai was able to use when he captured their chi, they like formed in stones on his belt, right? And then when he used them, he had them actually in physical form, and the Chameleon just becomes them instead, right? But he just feels like a repeat villain in terms of set skills, right? Obviously, the Chameleon becomes a villain, and Kai is able to just control the villains. But it just feels like the same power set. So I wish it would have been something new instead of like a shape-shifting sorcerer. But I get it. The Chameleon itself as a villain was not bad. The only other thing I did not like about the Chameleon in general is the fact that she said that, all the Kung Fu schools rejected me. They said I was too small. Mantis from the Furious 5. Smallest Kung Fu master we have, I think, or will ever seen. He's literally a praying mantis, right? And he's a master, right? Master Mantis. Now, I do believe that, I might be getting my lore wrong here, but that he did go to achieve that himself. But and he might have been rejected from some schools, but Mantis is a master of Kung Fu, so if he did it, she's way bigger than him, he could too. The Chameleon, she could also do it. So, it was just a bit confusing to me, like, how her villain arc started, right? But other than that, I'm just looking at my notes here, right? I just want to make sure I got everything. Other than that, yeah, I didn't have a problem with the Chameleon, but it just feels like a reused Kai, and she said she was too small, but we have Mantis, right? Now, I will get to the amazing visuals, right? Now, I will say, out of the 4 movies, also, sorry, I have to keep turning my screen on if you see it get dark. I don't know why it does that. However, the visuals, right? Let's get to the visuals. The visuals were the best of of all 4 movies. The visuals were the best, in my humble opinion, right? The visuals, I think, were probably the best of this movie, other than any other movie. But then we get to the plot of the movie, right? And I happen to think this plot was probably the worst of all 4 movies. It wasn't a bad plot. It was just very basic, and it kind of felt like movie 3, in terms of villain wise, and that kind of made the plot a bit different. Also, I think it took too long to get to the action, right? Like, it was, I think, an hour and a half movie, but there was, like, a good 20 minutes they could have used for other things while they were just building up to the plot, right? And also, people were saying online, like, that they used Po's love for food a bit too much. I think that's fine, because it shows that they are, in a sense, still staying true to their roots of, like, Po's character. But other than that, I just think the movie was the pace was good. I just think they could have used, like, 20 minutes in the middle for something else. But the plot was probably the worst of the 4. And again, the plot made myself and many others probably appreciate the way Kung Fu Panda movie 3, the third movie ended. But the plot was probably the worst of the 4, but the visuals were amazing. The actions were obviously awesome. We had 2 dragons this time for the Spirit Realm. Also, sorry, I'm sweating like crazy in here. I don't even know I'm wearing a jacket, but it's all good. But yeah, the plot, worst, visuals, best. Then we go to the Furious 5, right? We knew they weren't going to be, this huge, arc or part of the story, right? We knew that. But I thought they'd get, maybe like 5 minutes of screen time. No. They were in the end credit scene after the movie technically ended, right? Like, you could see the names of the actors and everything on screen as the Furious 5 showed up, right? And Tigress had, like, the sick robe, and she was looking awesome, I'll be honest, but, like, they legit missed the entire movie. And, like, I don't know if, like, the writers forgot, I don't know who's running the show now, but I think everyone just forgot how much, like, the Furious 5 and, like, especially Shen and Kai, like, meant to us as, like, people who have watched the first 3 movies. And like, they meant so much to us, and to just have them, like, Shen and Kai not even speak, and then Furious 5 show up for, like, the last 2 minutes, like, crazy stuff, in my opinion. But yeah, they definitely, I feel like, could have been implemented more. Like, they just put them on, so the reason the Furious 5 weren't there is because, as Poe said, they were all on different missions. But yeah, it was, except for Mantis, who was trying not to get beheaded by his girlfriend, I believe. But I just feel like that could have definitely been implemented more into the story. So what did I think the movie overall? Again, basic plot, but the movie overall, between the visuals, between Tai Lung's somewhat redemption arc, and between, again, I had no problem with Zhen at all. She was a great character. And yeah, so I thought the movie overall, it was okay. It definitely could have been better. Don't get me wrong on that. It definitely could have been better. So I will give this movie a 7.1 out of 10. And I think that's fair because, again, overall the movie was good, but was it needed? Absolutely not. Now, I will say that I don't know who said it, but like one of the writers or one of the directors said that originally there were supposed to be 6 Kung Fu Panda movies, right? So we're gonna have like a whole Star Wars saga, right? But we'll see how that turns out. Will there be a Kung Fu Panda movie 5? After a day, I believe the ratings on this movie, Kung Fu Panda 4, are 3.9, which after a day, when it's supposed to start like 5 stars, I don't know. I personally think it deserves like anywhere between a 3.5 and a 4 star. I don't think it deserves anywhere higher than that. Again, not a bad movie, but just a bit too basic, right? Like it was what I think everyone was expecting hoping for a bit more, right? Because again, the story with the other villains, with the Furious Five, and especially Tai Lung, we needed him to become Dragon Warrior, and he didn't. A criminal did instead. But on that note, 7.1 out of 10 is my official rating. I think it was a good movie overall. I would recommend to go watch it, especially if you watched the first 3 just to see what happens. And yeah, other than that, I appreciate y'all coming and listening to my review. And with that, I gotta go, and I will see y'all in the next one. Take care and peace!